3, 2, 1. 3, 2, action. Hi guys, it's another amazing Monday, and you know what that means? It's Momversations Monday! Woo, you got it! Yeah, karibu sana to this episode. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to our channel, like our videos, comment and share with your friends, your family, your wife, everyone. Yes, mtuongezee subscribers. Yeah, na wale mmekuwa na sisi hapa since the beginning, we thank you. We do not take it for granted. Yes? Yeah, now TikTok fam. Nayo. Yeah, so leo tumeleta mgeni mwingine. Yeah, last time you loved Dr. Lisa so much, so we decided to spoil you again with another doctor. Yeah, she will tell us her name and what she does. Yeah, na tuendelee vile tunaendelea.
Gosh, that was such a flowery introduction. So, my name is Dr. Elizabeth Joey. I'm a pediatrician. I've been a pediatrician for 7 years now.
Wow.
And I work with Malaica.
Yes.
I keep saying I'm a pediatrician who doesn't like saying baby sick. So I like empowering moms to know as much as you know so that your baby thrives, yeah? But if they get sick, it's okay. Kuja tu pia tutakutunza. It's fine, yeah.
I like the way you're saying kuja tu. Kuja. Ndio maana tuko hapa. Yeah. Another reason why you should subscribe to Malaica, because you will get such fun people. Yeah.
And you're also here to empower people. Like
Exactly. Yes.
So maybe we can just jump straight into it. So first question.
Umeanza mapema.
First question, generally, what are the milestone parents should look for in the child developing kutoka nizae mtoto all the way to maybe mali tu utafika? What are some of the key milestones I should look for?
Okay. So milestones, if we talk about like developmental milestones, what that means is basically how your baby is growing and the skills they're kind of acquiring as they grow up. Yeah. When a baby is born, they really don't do much, but that's what it looks like to somebody else. For us, there are those things we're looking at. Can this baby suckle? Can they feed? You know, those are still actually some things that they're supposed to do. Yeah. So usually as a newborn, there's not much. They're just eating, they're sleeping, they're pooping, and they're peeing. That's their job. Like who grow too, yeah. But they need to be able to feed well. So can they latch well? Can they breastfeed well? Yeah. The first major milestones you see around 6 weeks. So kawaida milestones, there are different types. Yeah. The one we are used to seeing is what we call the gross motor milestones. Mtoto anakaa, mtoto anatembea, mtoto anatamba, shingo inashika, because it's like the big muscles, what your big muscles are doing, gross motor, yeah. But there's also fine motor, which is like your fingers, your toes. Can I pick up something? Okay. Can I bring something to my mouth? Yeah. So it's gross motor, fine motor. Then there's social and emotional milestones. Yeah. How they relate socially with other people, yeah. And then there's your cognitive milestones, yeah. And cognitive is like critical thinking, yeah. Even just something as simple as a baby realizing kuna kitu hapa chini, they have thoughts, yeah. That's a milestone, yeah. You may funika something like a toy with something. Initially they think it's gone, then now they realize, oh, it's just covered. That is actually a milestone, yeah. And then the last one is language. How our language develops. So from the beginning, itakuwa to like blowing raspberries. Yeah. Then after that, anaanza kusema baba, 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 mama, mama, mama. Then after that, utaanza kusema anasema baba. That is specifically, you know, or mama or ta or something. Yeah. So in a developed people, yeah.
Okay.
So the very first one that you tend to see is around 6 weeks, between 6 weeks and 3 months, where now your baby is getting some neck control. At the beginning of life ukibeba mtoto, like shingo inaanguka chini, so you always told shikilia shingo, supports the neck, yeah.
So this is between 6 weeks and 6 months.
6 weeks and 3 months. 6 weeks and 3 months, yeah. Then they develop what we call a social smile. So if you've noticed, when babies are sleeping or just chilling, they just smile.
Wakinyonya.
Yeah.
They just smile, but haina pattern. They're just smiling. I always wonder what is it imewafurahisha.
Wakiwa wamelala sana sana.
Yeah, I thought maybe they're dreaming some nice things. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe.
But when they get to around between 6 weeks and 3 months, you'll notice they're smiling in recognition to something. So like unacheza na yeye, unamwongelesha, then now they start smiling. That's what's called a social smile, yeah? Because we're now interacting, yeah?
Yes.
Okay? And if you notice, I keep saying 6 weeks to 3 months, this month to this month, because milestones are not pop, like one specific time. There's a specific range, yeah? So some babies will get the neck support at 6 months, at 6 weeks, but another one will be steady by 2 months. Another one will be steady by 2.5 months. But ikifika 3 months na hujashika shingo,
Something is wrong.
Understand? Yeah. So they usually have a range.
And what could be wrong? Nimefika 3 months, mtoto hajakuwa stable. Is it the muscles? Ama ni nini?
It could be a myriad of things. It could even just start from what happened akizaliwa. Yeah? Yeah, it could actually be at that point, yeah? Because then it's telling me there's something wrong. The brain is the one that is developing and now helping your body do all these things going forward, yeah? But if it's not able to do it, is there something that happened to the brain when you were born? So like, you'll hear doctors always asking, when the baby was born, did the baby cry? Yeah? Because then I expect you took your first breath at that point. You're already getting oxygen in the mother's womb. When you come out, you need to continue getting that oxygen. So you need to get it, yeah? If something happens and you don't breathe, or you have to be helped to breathe at birth, then you can get a little bit of brain damage that can affect your milestones, yeah? If you get severely ill when you're very young, it can affect your brain, it affects your milestones. If you get some illnesses like rickets, which is like a calcium deficiency, it can actually affect your milestones. So the causes are many. I would have to sit with you now, nichambue, ask multiple questions and try and see, I think this is the cause, let's deal with it. Some of them could be even just maybe an abnormality in the brain that you were born with, that I might discover maybe if I do a scan and like, okay, I think this is what is causing the issue. So there are multiple causes, yeah, of the milestones. But if you track them, then you can notice there's a problem here, and then you seek advice early, and then we can now try and catch it and see if we can correct it.
Yeah. Umetaja, if the baby had rickets, then maybe pia, that is why the neck iko loose. Is it to say that pia hiyo kuotesha mtoto juu inaweza fanya pia shingo ikuwe strong? Because rickets tunaambiwa pia eka mtoto kwa juu.
Yes, because rickets in general it's like deficiency of calcium deficiency, and vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D is a very useful vitamin, and it helps your body utilize that calcium. So for strong muscles, strong bones, we get vitamin D from the sun. Yeah, so sun hits the skin, starts a chain reaction, makes vitamin D. Vitamin D goes and does the work of moving the calcium around. So usipotesha mtoto, you can actually get vitamin D deficiency, which gives you calcium deficiency, then you get rickets.
So hiyo jua si ya miguu pekee.
Mwili
yote. Kuna usieke macho kwa jua.
Mwili yote, and as soon as you leave the hospital.
So
most times.
But kuna times specific za hiyo jua. Si tu jua ya saa 8.
No. So tuna avoid jua ya katikati because it's very harsh, and then there's the risk of getting sunburn, yeah? So we'll prefer the morning sun, like between 9 and 10 a.m., like before 10 a.m., and then the evening sun, like after 3. Yeah. And then you do at least 30 minutes to 1 hour each session. But the midday sun is very harsh, and you can get sunburn. Although sometimes you find like the current weather we've been having, we've not been seeing the sun. So sometimes we'll say, if you just see any sun, just go. As long as it's not hot, burning, yeah, you just go and get some.
Yeah, I saw even a doctor who was saying, hata kukiwa cloudy, you can still take them out.
Yeah.
Bora tu, it's the rays, ama?
It's the rays. So what we're targeting is the UV rays. They'll still pass through. Of course, the cloud cover will reduce the penetration, but some will still pass through. Yeah. So even if it's still cloudy, as long as it's not cold, because again, you don't want to make the baby cold, you can still take them out. Yeah.
And before we even move to the next question, Ebu, talk to us about jaundice.
Yeah.
Oh, that was even to be the next. Okay. Jaundice.
Okay.
What causes jaundice? Alafu, can jaundice become, inaweza kuwa irreversible? Is it that bad? Because me, my baby had jaundice. Akiwa, I think 4 days old, we noticed to her eyes are.
Hawaku notice kwa hospitali?
No, actually she was okay. Because ndo nione hiyo change, she was okay. Then 4 days later ndo notice, macho ni yellow. You know, ndo the next day tukenda Hosi and they were one she's just a 5-day-old baby. Wamemtoa damu, nikaambiwa sijui if it is bad, tutamweka sijui wapi ndani, sijui nini. So how bad can it get? Kwanza unaweza tuambia what really happens, ndo mtu apate jaundice, and then how bad can it get, and then how can you treat it?
So jaundice is an accumulation of something we call bilirubin. Yeah. Bilirubin is a compound in bile. So unajua bile? I usually give the example of the chicken. Ukichinja kuku ama mbuzi, the cutting behind the liver,
the green
that's the
thing.
gallbladder, the green one. Yeah? That green juice is bile. The bilirubin makes some of those components. Yeah? It has a job actually. Its job is to break down fat. So it's useful in the body. Yeah? And it comes from many places. Yeah? It's made in the liver, but also it can happen if you have, like, let's say, your red blood cells, the ones that give you the red color of blood and transport your oxygen. If they're broken down haraka sana, it's one of the waste products kind of, yeah? So it can accumulate, yeah? Now what is happening in this baby is that if you are in your mom's womb, your mom's liver cleans out your system for you, yeah? Then when you're born, a lot of the things that your mommy was doing for you, you now have to do on your own. Yeah, but you're so small, so the liver is actually not mature. So you find that now these compounds are accumulating in the bloodstream. Yeah, but the liver is maturing. Yeah, the liver is maturing. So you'll notice that around day 3, for a baby who has been born full term, yeah, full term meaning amefikisha miezi zake 9 kwa mimba, yeah. Around day 3 is when you'll notice this, because there's a lot happening and the liver is not clearing it fast enough, yeah. But remember, in the womb, mommy was doing it for you, so we're not accumulating, yeah. So you see it now in the eyes. That's why you saw yours around day 4 there. So it starts becoming a bit visible around day 3 in the eyes. The eyes, because they tend to be the whitest part, so the most visible, then it gets worse. So usually, like by day 5, it's really deep. And then now, remember, all these things are happening and your baby is still maturing even after the womb, yeah? So now the liver is getting used to the fact that I need to do this job, yeah? So it's maturing. So it now starts clearing out, yeah? The compound. So it eventually settles on its own, usually by around day 10. If it persists beyond week 2, it's a problem. But that is just what the normal cause is. I can have other situations that can worsen this bilirubin accumulation. Like if I get very sick in the first days of life, it can ongeza. If I have an issue like where mommy's blood and baby's blood are competing, it's like they're fighting, then you get a lot of breakdown of the red blood cells, it accumulates.
You're competing if we are not of the same blood group.
Yes, so it's like they're fighting.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like they're fighting, yeah. So you find that baby's blood group is one that's now the baby's blood is being broken, so you get accumulation, yeah. So there are those situations that can make it accumulate faster.
Okay.
Yeah. The danger is that if it is very high, and that's why your baby was being taken for the blood samples, there's a level beyond which we need to now make sure it doesn't go higher than that and bring it down fast.
Okay.
Because it can actually cross into baby's brain and cause brain damage.
Okay.
Yeah. So what they were telling you is that if it is high beyond a certain level, we'll admit and put under a blue light. We call it phototherapy. Yeah. It breaks it down, yeah. So
Okay.
now it can be washed off easily. Because if it accumulates, then I don't want my baby to get brain damage. And the problem is, since babies' brains are so young, I really cannot tell. I can suspect that there is brain damage, but I can't tell the extent.
Yeah.
I will know when the baby is growing and I'm like, oh, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, he's not doing that. You get? So I'd rather not get to that point. Yeah.
Kuna hii kitu ilifanyikia mtoi wangu when he was born. See, there's that dawa anaekewa kwa macho. Hiyo dawa,
creamy one.
I don't know. I was sijui labda baba yake atatuambia. I don't know. I wasn't there. But nikali react nayo cause his eyes were okay that day. Then for the next 2 days, since I was a CS mom, tulikat, then the eyes started swelling. Zilifura tu, ukiambia to hospital wanakwambia, no, hazijafura. I'm like, no. Zimefura, like, cause mi ni mtu wa kufura macho, so I can tell when someone amefura macho pia. So, ni watoto wote ureact na hiyo dawa, ama na hiyo dawa ni necessary mtu hiyo aekewe?
Absolutely necessary.
Okay.
So inaitwa tetracycline eye ointment. It's like a creamy ointment. It's an antibiotic ointment. So there are 2 medicines that you'll get immediately mtoto azaliwe. TEO in the eyes and a jab in the thigh called vitamin K.
Okay.
Vitamin K helps to your body not to bleed excessively. The TEO is preventing eye infections, which can be, they're actually very common in newborns. And so this simple thing, like a tube of TEO is so tiny, but it's so cheap. And that small intervention.
Kidogo tu. Vitamin K ni ya mtoto bado.
Mtoto, yeah.
Okay, so why are we preventing bleeding ya mtoto?
Because there's a tendency for them to get a bleeding disorder wakizaliwa, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah. So I want to give this vitamin K ndio asibleed excessively.
Or in case of an accident or something.
No, just like that. They can just spontaneously bleed. Yeah.
From where? From?
Anywhere. They don't even have to cause trauma. They can just start bleeding. Yeah. I can bleed from labda nikidunga shindano, it's not clotting. I can bleed from inside my intestines, so anaanza kutapika damu. So it's the vitamin K is preventing that. Yeah. The illness itself is called, it's a difficult name. It's called hemolytic disease of the newborn. Yeah. So it's to prevent that. So all these strategies are to prevent, and they are such simple strategies, and they can literally save a life. They do save lives, yeah. So it's very important. So maybe I'll react to a component because it's an antibiotic. Yeah. Maybe I'll react to it, then macho ikafura or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. So hiyo ya macho inasaidia na macho afungue macho ama
ina prevent eye infection.
Antibiotic ni infection.
Because my baby was brought to me. Yeah. And alikuwa amewekewa mingi kwa macho and I was wondering what is this now? Because ilikuwa inatoka hadi huku nje. Inafaa ikuwe mingi hivyo?
Not really. Labda mwenye aliweka tu alisqueeze nyingi. Alisqueeze nyingi, yeah.
So tumeongea story ya neck. So hiyo ni week 6 to
so that is week 6 to
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Neck and social smile.
Yeah.
That's the very first ones you get, yeah. Then after that, you'll notice like from 2 months to 3 months, your baby now starts becoming a little bit more active. So ukimwacha kama umemlalisha kwa macho, you'll notice sasa anaanza kurusha miguu, yeah. He's turning the head more, yeah, towards sounds and like that. When they get to around 3 months, they now start becoming more interactive. Yeah. So wanacheka na wewe, yeah. They are looking at you. They are fixating, yeah. It's like they are studying the environment.
But can they see you really?
Yes, they can see you, but they see you like
blurry.
Okay. Yeah? And
really? And how do they know? Hata before uongee that this is
sauti.
No, before hata uongee, they can follow.
Maziwa.
So unanuka from mimba. So they have your voice. Yeah. All these things actually start. They get from birth. So even when they are born, and they hear, they'll be like, okay, that seems like a familiar sound.
Do they also like know your smell?
They will learn that. They learn that now as you go, because you tend to be the primary caregiver. And then, so they pick your scents. Yeah, even just something as simple as your perfume. They can pick it.
See, maziwa?
And your body smells.
Yeah, hata si tunaambiwa ni
maziwa.
They can
that was the cutest stage.
And at 3 months, niko naona mahali unafaa uweke mtoi black and white things. Why is that?
So when they are young, they can see, but they have very short-sighted vision. So utasikia hata mtu akikwambia ukiongea na mtoto, bring them here, yeah. So they can see, it's blurry, and it's nearsighted. So high contrast things like black and white, you know. If you have, like, let's say a black and white card here with spirals and stuff, even if it's blurry, you can still see black and white lines, yeah? So that high contrast that they are able to perceive in the middle of their blurriness. And as they grow older, their vision becomes better. So you realize you don't have to have the baby here. They can be here, and they're still laughing with you, and they're still fixating on this storybook or whatever it is, yeah. So around that time, they start fixating, they start following sound, they start kicking, they start moving their arms. So you'll notice that they now can bring their arms up. It's like they're so fascinated by what are these things, and then that now eventually moves to their hands going into their mouth. So like 3 to 4 months. So that all that is gross motor movement. You'll notice at this point also they probably prefer to be pulled up.
Anajiinua, umeng'ang'ana ati akae hivi na yeye anataka kukaa. Okay.
Because now our trunk is usually this part of the body, is now getting strong, and they're preferring more upright posture than be, where they were lying and looking like this. Their view of the world is changing. When they sit up, they're seeing things like this instead of upright. I mean, staring up at the ceiling. So you'll find a baby between 4 to 6 months is now trying. That one is a baby who you can actually train up to sit. So they're now trying to sit, but now with V2. So we see sitting with support. And then so that's like the gross motor. They can move their hands here. If you give them something, they clutch it tight. That's their fine motor getting better. So now even at this point, you can give them a toy. Like a rattle or something, wataishikilia vizuri na haitaanguka. They'll start cooing and babbling and raspberries all the time. Wanamwaga Martin, they're blowing raspberries. That's communication.
As you're talking, my heart is
Unapata baby fever.
Because nakumbuka itu is a moment.
Malaica people, your next customer.
Maybe. Me, I used to record videos natumia my mom. Ati mtoto ameshika toy.
Your next customer is here.
Sounds are becoming more obvious. So you'll notice they startle more when they hear sound. If they hear you talking there, they turn and start laughing because they're now perceiving sounds. So if you need to buy them any toys, well, toys are not really necessary, but if you need to buy them any toys, you can get them noisy, colorful toys. Because now it will fixate. Now what is this? They'll fixate and try. So that's like 4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 kuna meno. Because your saliva.
No, the saliva, the drooling is a normal occurrence. With or without. Okay. You'll tend to see it a little bit more obvious around 4 months. But drooling is a thing for kids almost up to 2 years. As a normal occurrence.
Okay.
But if you notice like imeongezeka, then now you start asking questions. Because it could be teething, it could be labda kuna kidonda kwa mdomo, it could be labda they are having pain in the throat, so wanakata kumeza mate and stuff like that. So if it's just the normal, sawa. But ukiona inaongezeka, then now we start interrogating ni kwa nini inaongezeka.
Nitakurudisha hapo kwa first trimester. No. 4th trimester.
The first few weeks.
Colic. Mimi na cause colic kwa sababu mimi najua tu ni mtoto anaumwa na tumbo tukigrow tuko najua mtoto anaumwa na tumbo.
I think it's air, but ata confirm.
So mpaka sasa tunashinda kujaribu kuelewa what exactly this colic is, but the postulation, there are multiple reasons that have been put across. One, the fact that the gut is kind of immature and is still learning. Remember, hata kama mtoto amezaliwa na ni mature kwa mimba, akitoka nje bado anaendelea ku develop. Sawa? Inside the womb, they were not eating. Yes, they're surrounded by the fluid and they do the swallowing motions just to teach their gut that you're supposed to move these things like this. But hajawahi kunywa maziwa. So ukimpatia maziwa, they have to digest it. Their intestines are learning these things. A lot of gas production. So, and then their body does not really know how to release gas the way adults can. Or even just to poop. The process of pooping is a story for the little babies.
And you can even tell wakianza kupoti train.
They start their rethink, the need.
And in fact, they wake up
and continue. So it's just everything kind of learning. But now with colic, you find that whatever is happening is somewhat exaggerated, and you'll find that it tends to be a bit more obvious around 6 weeks. 6 weeks tends to coincide also with a growth spurt. So again, the volumes of milk they're taking is a lot. So we're trying to help them get this gas out. So most times colic, you you'll describe it as an excessively irritable child. Tends to happen around the same time, and most of the time it happen like at night. Cries maybe for 3 hours or longer around the same time, and it persists for like more than 3 days. Then I'll say, okay, I think this is colic. If it was just a one-off, no. But if it's now a pattern, then I'll say it's colic. Yeah. So we look at a number of things. One, is your baby latching onto the breast properly? Yeah. Because if they're not, they'll swallow air. Remember we said we're struggling to remove air. Then now we're adding more air. So we have to learn how to latch properly. Then after we latch properly, we now make sure we do a good breastfeed. So we're not snacking, yeah? We're not breastfeeding every 5-10 minutes, yeah? If I put the baby on the breast, I do a good 30 minutes, 40 minutes, breastfeed.
Hata kilala.
Namamsha. Unangangana too, you make sure your baby is as awake as possible before you start the breastfeed, because the breast is such a comfortable place, yeah? It's such a soothing place. So if they were half asleep, matiti anaenda anarudi kulala, yeah? So you breastfeed, you keep stimulating, and then bap them in the middle, then put on the other breast, and then they do a good feed. Then it allows the system to digest that portion before a new portion comes. After feeding, ensure you've completely bapped your baby. So whichever position you shall use for bapping, just make sure you've removed that excess wind, yeah? And then after that, there's some positions you can try just to help the baby, yeah? So when they're really fussy, if you put them tummy down, it helps, yeah? But note, not tummy down at yalale tumbo hivi. You're the one holding the baby, like the baby on your lap, then tummy down, then you like rub their back, it helps soothe them. You can carry them, and when you're carrying them, like up here, you've like tucked in the thighs so that imekunjika, yeah? So that it kind of is massaging the belly. And then you can do like tummy massages, and then you can do the bicycle. Things when you do like this, yeah? Or pushing the legs together and back to just help the baby relieve whatever gas is there. So it can be quite a daunting situation for moms, because when that baby is crying, you know you're crying. The problem with that situation is that the baby notices mom is anxious, and then it becomes vicious.
Because energy, watoi is very, they're big on energy.
So if you realize that you're also struggling, then if there's someone who can help you soothe the baby, because the baby will feed off your energy. If there's someone who can help you soothe the baby when you relax, then you can try that.
I had help. My husband, we tulia make agreement. Nanyonyesha, unabam. I go to sleep and I sleep. Sitaki kujua vile wata survive too. Yeah, and that really helped.
Yeah. So if none of those situations are working, just go to your doctor. There's some medicines that sometimes we can give to help the situation, yeah? Sometimes it gets worse. Usually moms don't like hearing that. So it gets worse and then gets better. Yeah, but usually sometimes just stops on its own. Yeah. Ikikata kabisa, then tunachambua the situation and try and figure it out. Because sometimes it could even be the baby reacting to something you ate. Yeah. Like maybe if you drink a lot of milk and the baby is having a milk issue.
Lactose intolerant.
It can give a lot of gas and a lot of cramps and tummy pain. So now we look at all those things. So you find actually a pediatric consultation, a lot of it is mom, because mom and baby are the same person. Yeah. It was disturbing the baby.
No, were you to mean them one is because of gas?
I just didn't take a lot, but I did have njahe. Kenya ninakumbuka nilemba nisikule mob niskuma.
But then again, every person is different. Me, when I ate njahe, ilisumbua mtoto wangu. But you were fine, yeah? I know people who, when they had milk, it was an issue. Me, I had milk, there was no issue. So again, I can't tell mom stop everything. Because I need mom to eat properly. Maziwa, yeah? So what we'd rather do is keep a food diary for like a whole week. Just write, breakfast nimekunywa chai na mandazi, lunch nimekula hivyo, and then you note also when the baby is fussy. Then we examine that and see, is there some form of relation with some specific item or something?
Is there a way ginger helps? Do you think ginger helps when mommy takes ginger water?
When mommy takes ginger?
Yes.
I actually don't know if it does, yeah. Because there are many things that people have said, dill, fenugreek, fennel, But then there are those people who, when their moms took deal, the babies had issues. So it's very difficult. So if you keep a food diary and you notice, okay, when I took the ginger water, totally got better, then I can say this could possibly be
working for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Because me, I did ginger water. Someone advised kutoka nikwe pregnant, I just do ginger water, then after delivery, nianze, but ni kwena dilute sasa after delivery and all. And we didn't have colic. But I don't know. So maybe in our pili ndo sasa tutatest tena to wonder if it truly worked.
Tutakemea hiyo.
So tulikuwa hapa kwa 4 to 6 months. So 4 to 6 months umesema.
So our baby is now grasping things.
They are pulling themselves
up. You can be sitting with support at that time.
They are smiling.
They're smiling. They are laughing. They even laugh. Chuckle.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they now recognize even familiar faces. Yeah.
Oh, hapo ndio wanakataanga watu sasa.
They recognize familiar faces, familiar sounds. Yeah. At 6 months, you'll notice something called separation anxiety. There's separation anxiety and there's stranger anxiety. So stranger ni ya kukataa watu.
Ama wakiona wageni kwa how they
yes, because who are these people?
Crying, yeah. Okay.
And since their memory is also not like well formed, I can be with the baby. Let's say I'm the baby's auntie and I see you every day for a week, not anijua, and then I disappear for like 2 weeks and I come back. Who is that?
Yeah.
So they'll cling to the ones who they feel are safe. Yeah. And then separation anxiety is the one where when you leave, they cry. Because for them it's like abandonment. Hawelewi that utarudi. Yeah. So when they grow older, between 9 and 12 months, they actually get now that concept of they will return. Yeah. So this time they don't have that critical thinking. Now that's where now your cognitive functions are getting better. They don't have that critical thinking of understanding that when someone leaves that door, they could just be in the next room and they're coming back. But as they get older, they realize it. And there are some things that you can actually do to help that. Yeah. Like let's say I leave every day and my baby is always crying. We can do a game where I'm in this room, they're in the other room. When I open the door, they see me, then I close the door and I disappear. Then I open the door again and they're like, oh, they're just behind the door. Then they'll come back. So it's like you're teaching them, I will come back. Yeah. Then now what you do is you keep making that distance longer. Yeah. You open, disappear for 1 minute, then come back. Then 2 minutes, then come back. Then they realize they now that develop that concept of they'll come back. There are also some games that help, like peekaboo. Yeah. Because when you cover, if you put a sheet here in front of a 5-month-old, then you're gone.
And then you come back.
Yeah. So they're not understanding that ukapo. So at some point you'll even see them now turning behind the sheet, like ukapa nyuma. Yeah. That's their cognition is improving. Yeah. So those are games that you can play with the baby to now kind of help them. But you'll notice that they couldn't do it at 4 months. Now they're doing it at 9 months.
Ukimwongelesha umwambie naenda job na kama. Ama hiyo that one's for older children like
later mwenye anakuelewa.
But it doesn't stop you from starting early because babies will understand. Because even the tone of voice, they might not understand what you're saying, but the tone with which you're saying it is somewhat soothing stuff, and then they'll understand, okay, mommy seems to be telling me something. That's okay. Yeah. You might even notice that maybe, because moms, we get frustrated and you can't kind of run away from that. Yeah. So you can be having the babies crying, we watch chakulia.
And they keep quiet.
Your tone has stirred them. Yeah. They've not understood what you've said, but the tone you've said it with has kind of shocked them a little bit. So speaking with babies, speak with your baby from the time they're a newborn, but they actually get the tone variations. They notice mommy is happy, mommy is sad, mommy is angry. Yeah. Then now as they pick language, they realize this means this.
Someone was saying, ile unatoka, you're not supposed to run away from the child. Watakuwa na trust issues. Like, tunaweza kuwa tu hapa sasa alafu unanitoka. What do you mean? Unaenda umepotea huko. So even as we stopped doing that, like, badala ya kuhepa, I just tell them narudi. I'm going to work, naenda gym, narudi saa hii. Sasa siku hizi ashazoea, uendi gym? Uendi job?
Hata mimi nilifanya hivyo. So hata ukitoka, she just says a goodbye to you. Naomba bye, she says bye. I'll see you later. I'll miss you. And you go.
So now when you come back, now I can see your kids are understanding. When you come back, exaggerated.
Hi.
Yes.
Mimi hata yangu ikuange exaggerate. Babake juzi nilikuwa nimelala hivi nasikia babake ameingia. Daddy, what's up man? Niko like, mimi hata sisalimi wangu hivi.
Hata mimi sisalimi wangu hivyo.
Yeah, but at least nipo anaelewa what is happening.
Yeah.
Tunaongea sana ni acha tu tu engage watu huko. I hope bado mko na sisi.
Are we together?
Are we together? I hope you're learning just as much as we are learning. You can tell tuna learn so much.
Tuko tu.
We are learning so much.
Sasa ana learn na baby fever.
I know. Akisema tu, you know, they smile, they let out chuckles. Niko like, aww.
Yeah, we get it, Maggie. Don't worry. 2025 is your year.
2025. 2025 ni next year. We shall discuss.
Malaica, your customer is here.
Because even that's actually what we do at Malaica. We work with you. We work with you. Tutakwambia, okay, fine. When the baby comes, do this, do that. We teach you all these things such that even you'll notice, dog, I think my baby has a problem because hajashikilia shingo nako 3 months. You know? Yeah. So we talk to the moms. We have little groups. They have the WhatsApp groups. They talk with each other. Yeah. So kuja.
Actually, by now, if you're watching us and you know you need these services, the groups, the specialists, these advices, and when bado hujajoin me, I don't know what is wrong with you.
Please.
But kuna mwenye ali reach out actually, and I connected them to you people. So that is good. So kama hujui uende aje kwao directly, reach out to one of us. DM us.
We are here.
At zoo.minage.ke.
Unaekanga KE. Yo, umetoa wapi?
At Karimi_Mwari. Just DM us to connect to. It's very important. Actually, the mom who reached out, alikuwa referred, na alipewa namba yake with a friend of mine who's a male who actually watches us. Nasikuwa najua.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so even if you're a male and you're watching us, share this with someone.
Support someone
I think
in your
just
life.
talking and maybe she mentioned she was having a hard time. Akambia, oh, you know what? Talk to so and so. Tell her you need a support group.
Yeah.
Imagine.
And then on top of that, we also have physical clinics. I do their postnatal visits, so you're going to have a 2-week review after birth, that one is just to check kama mtoto ananyonya vizuri, mnakopaje. But at 6 weeks I'll physically look for those things. I'll look, is your baby's neck starting to hold? Are we starting to laugh with you?
Kilo ikipunguka unipashe.
Kupasha nitakusupport, nitakwambia fanya
Kwani amkuli?
kupasha utaogopa alafu utapotea. And be afraid to ask.
Another reason for you kwenda Malaica. Mimi nilipashwa na amepunguza 200 grams. Just 200 grams.
But my baby was a good eater. I don't know, she just had, but actually you can comment on that as tunaendelea. She's a very, very good eater. Lakini mwili.
Haina results.
Hakuna results. Hakuna. So every time I'd go to the clinics, nauliza maswali sijui niseme nini. Because we are eating everything from malenge to uji to hizo njahe. And you umezimash and you're thinking, why mbona hatuwezi? So you comment on that as we go.
Hapo kwa 4 to 6 months. Tuko na vitu mingi hapo, tuko na hadi weaning.
So at 6 months, so usually we advise you do exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months, right? Because breast milk is a superfood and it's very important, even just for growth and development of the baby. But ukishafika 6 months, it's not enough to provide the calories that this baby needs, and the babies are growing rapidly. It's not like the way as adults we can remain the same weight the whole year, or just add 1 kilo. You get them, they're gaining 500, 800 grams each month. So at 6 months, it's not enough to provide all of that. So now I have to introduce what we call complementary feeds. So we changed the name. Before we called nasema weaning, but weaning means complete stopping of breast milk. Complementary feeds nimeongeza, nina complement the breast milk. So you still continue, we encourage you still continue breastfeeding at least paka 2 years. And then now when you stop breastfeeding at that 2 years, I say you have weaned the baby. You get, But so this is now introduction of complementary feeds. It needs to be well balanced. So the baby needs to eat like the way you eat. You portion your meals with a carbohydrate, a protein, a vegetable. Baby also needs very well balanced diet. especially with proteins, because they are getting rapid muscle growth, vile wana grow haraka, and protein is what will feed that, So if you come na unasema mtoto wako ama uko na mtoto wako hagain weight vizuri, what I'll do first is assess the baby. And then for most babies, the ones who are less than 6 months, I'll plot. So now, kale ka kitabu ya clinic, the way there's that page that that goes. Yes. So your weight needs to be within that green lines, and then it needs to go the way that curve is going. Steep in the first 4-5 months and starts gradually inclining.
Okay.
So you need to remain there. If I see you're going straight or you're falling off that line, then I'll now start asking what's going on, how long are we breastfeeding, him, and all of that. If you've reached the point where you're complementary feeding, I now ask, what are you giving? So I actually ninachambua kabisa. Asubuhi ulimpatia nini? Uji. Uliweka kitu ndani ya uji? Blue band. Uliweka, I'm chambuaing kabisa because I want to ensure it's well balanced. Kuna carbohydrates, kuna proteins, kuna vegetables. No, like your meals in general,
Okay.
So you find the easiest thing to give su kwanga carbohydrates. Ndio tutasikia mtu alimash malenge na waru na kampatia. But that's just a carbohydrate meal.
Okay.
So most people, you realize, they don't know that I can give my child minced meat. Yeah. I can give my child chicken. I can give my child an egg. I can give my child vegetables. They don't realize that until you sit and you teach them, like, your baby is supposed to be eating this way. We just gradually introduce most feeds.
Okay.
That's where they're getting all their nutrients from. And then I take their weight na ninalinganisha na their height. So there's a range and there's a chart we use. So maybe your baby is just slim, but nikimpima kilo na height falls within the normal. So I can't say that this one is healthy and this one is not, if I've not both taken weight and height and compared for each child.
Okay.
Food
ya mtoto. Nilikuwa naona mtu anaekea mtu kitunguu, garlic, anapikanisha hapo viazi. Viazi, malenge, like ata mix hizo vitu zote umesema, the vegetable nini, but sasa tutakaranga like. So I went to the doctor I was seeing at that time, akaniambia, children are like old people, wazee. Hawana meno lakini chakula lazima ikuwe ina slap.
Yes.
So nilianzia tu hapo. And I just want you to tell us kama it's okay to put in small portions, like the garlic.
It doesn't hurt at all. Again, also, if the food is very bland, mtoto anaweza kuikata sana. But again, you're not going to overly spice it.
No.
Because children will get taste preferences. So you realize that atakata something because this one didn't have this or something like that. So you can cook with oil because fats are actually important for us. They help us to even absorb some vitamins. You can cook with a little bit of oil. It's not too much. You can add a little bit of salt. Mimi nikikula sasa chakula itabidi niongeze. You can cook with onions, you can cook with garlic, you can cook with tomatoes. As long as you're not putting too much, because something like tomatoes is like overly acidic. So instead of using a full tomato, I can use maybe half a tomato, just something to give it flavor. But you just cook your food well, then blend it or mash it and feed the baby.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe for a new mom, first time mom, hapo tukianza kufanya complementary feeding, are we now feeding them directly ama unaweza pata mtu atapika hiyo waru na aanze kumpatia hiyo directly? So I just want you to take that mom through the process of how you do it, mash the food or blend or however
Okay, so you'll find that because we're just coming from breast milk, taking solids again will also be a challenge for the baby. A 6-month-old, most don't have meno actually. The outliers will grow teeth maybe around 4 months, 5 months, Most 6-months-old will not have teeth, but their first ones will come in. Either way, it's the front ones. So imagine for 6 months of your life, you've just been drinking a liquid. Then I give you a solid. So it might shock them. They don't know how to chew it or swallow it. They might gag a little bit a few times, So most times you'll find that we do a gradual transition. So you're coming from the liquid milk, then now into your semi-solid. So you do like ujis and mashed foods. So you can cook your meals like because again, also food in Iva at different times. So if I put waru and beef, waru itavambelea nyama, yeah. So I'd rather cook everything kando and then mix them together and blend them, yeah.
Yeah.
And then gradually you can thin it out with some even breast milk. You can thin it out even with breast milk, yeah, just so that it's easy for the baby to feed, yeah. And then gradually make it more and more rough, because you don't want a smooth feed until your baby is like 1 year old, yeah. So you keep gradually making it more and more rough as you watch your baby whether they're able to tolerate. Babies can chew; they use their tongue, and their gums, yeah. So they roll around the food with their tongue, and it's very important that it keeps becoming more and more rough, yeah, because that also helps strengthen their tongue muscles, their mouth, and it also helps the development of speech. So you'll notice, like, if a child maybe takes more mashed foods, they might struggle saying some sounds that require maybe your tongue or something like that. But if they've been gradually moving into mashed foods, into rough foods, then they're able to develop their speech better, yeah, or even faster, yeah. So by the time your baby is 1 year, I should be able to just put the food na nifinye na kijiko or something na kule without a problem, yeah. It also helps your baby tolerate, because if, let's say, I super blended my food until this child is 9 months old, and then I just made it rough, unajua tatema, because hajui kumeza anagopeta mnyonga, so
hata anashanga hii ni nini, like
things hitting the mouth. So you'll find that you now have issues with feeding the baby because they are stuck on, I want this, I don't want this, because I can't chew, yeah. So if you want to avoid those problems in the future, you just do a gradual increase, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Baby-led weaning. Should we let our children feed themselves from the get-go? Because I am suffering currently. Na niliona mama TikTok akisema, it's because you did not let your baby feed themselves. So now they don't feed themselves because they don't want to.
So baby-led is more like let the baby choose what they want, yeah? So there are those who won't do what I've said, that you start with uji, go blended. They'll just give the baby chunks of food, put it and the baby picks it and choose, yeah? And then for you, it's important that when your baby now is able to, so this is another milestone. So I can grasp, but I can reach, pick, and bring to my mouth. That's another milestone, yeah? Which tends to happen when you're old, around 10, 11 months thereabout, yeah? When we get to that age, as you're feeding the baby, you can actually encourage the baby to do it. And one thing I usually tell moms is don't be afraid of a mess, because that's how babies learn.
Mimi nilikuwa naogopa mess.
If you get messy, the spoon will
Mimi
go
niliogopa.
here, you have food in your hair.
Anapeleka chakula sijui wapi.
Yeah, but you find that they actually enjoy it, yeah? So let the baby do it.
Even feeling the texture of food.
Feeling the texture.
Like now my baby feeds herself, but anatumia mkono. Hata ukimwekea kijiko, she knows how to use the spoon, but she'll put it as
In our next baby will feed themselves, please. Na tutachafua.
So train them. Let them hold the spoon, guide it into the mouth. They'll miss a few times, but it's okay, yeah?
Yeah.
So with the baby-led weaning, where you're allowing them to kind of choose the foods, it has its advantages, it has its disadvantages, yeah? The advantages that your baby usually will not have food aversions, because sample vitu nyingi sana, yeah? And then even just what I was talking about, speech development, because they're learning to chew earlier, yeah? Usually the tricky bit is I'm giving a 6-7 month old chunks, and I don't know whether or not they can chew it properly. So it's not something you can do without supervision. You have to be there. So that in case you notice your child is choking, then immediate first aid, yeah? The foods have to be soft enough so that even if it is a chunk, it is something else baby can chew. Like if I can give a banana, instead of mashing it, I can cut it into into like triangles or something like that. And then they pick one. But see, banana they can even mash with their tongue. So you have to be there when you're watching. The food need to be cooked very well, soft enough, like not a crunchy carrot, maybe a more of a cooked carrot, so they can chew it. But you really have to be there and watch them, so that there is no issue. And then in the middle of all of that, still make sure that your food is balanced. Pretty much.
Go 6 to 9.
6 to 9 months.
What other milestones should we watch out for? 6 to 9.
6 to 9 months, that baby should now be sitting. So we'll start sitting with support between 4 and 6 months. 6 to 9 months, we'll sit on our own. So ideally, when I meet a 9-month-old, that the baby should be sitting without anything. So at 6-7 months, some will be steady, others will sit, but you have to be there because they keep falling over. So again, arrange. Then that's when they start crawling. Reaching for objects. So remember, at 4 months, nilikwambia mtoto atashika kitu tight, but after you give it to them, 6 to 9 months, they can actually reach. They can reach for some things. 6 to 9 months now, in terms of language, your baby is making sounds. Like ba 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 ba. We call them monosyllables. Asemi baba. Anasema baba baba.
Continuous.
Continuous.
Mbona umebreak hearts huku watu wanafikiria wanaitwa baba.
Nadhani mtu anaitwa kumbe baba.
Kumbe.
Because that thing is usually moms really bad. But we learned that it is not that they can't say mama or baba. It's just that baba is easier to say. Even dada is easier to, because speech has different.
Si ati wanapenda dada.
If I say da, my tongue is hitting the roof of my mouth. If I say ma, it's it's harder than da. So you'll find it is just that it is easier. Then by 9 months they'll say mama.
Si ati mnapendwa, by the way.
So by end of 9 months when they're saying mom, it's actually mom.
Yes, it's mom. Before it's just that. So when they move, when they get to about 9 to 12 months, they stop saying like just continuous baba baba mama. They're now calling out. So if it's dad, it's daddy or dada or baba. And it's in reference to this specific person. Even if they have siblings, they can call out the sibling's name in whatever version they have made. Because they can't say everything. In whatever version they have made. So they're actually now developing language. A 1-year-old is able to say like 2 to 3 words. Some will say more, but I will not understand it if I'm not usually in the vicinity of that child. But the people around that child should be able to understand.
That's why sometimes the house help anaweza jua mtoto than
atakwambia anaitisha kiatu, you're like because they're picking it. But by the time they're between 1.5 and 2 years, even me who has never met this child will tell you anaitisha kiatu. Now I can understand. Their speech is becoming more clear. Even if it is still not understandable, I can say I think he's asking for this. But at 1 year, me who is a stranger will not really understand it.
What about, so what age should we look out for the talking? Na akipitisha tutakuwa worried. Tunaanza kuwa worried lini sasa? Kama haongei. So by 1 year kuna zile vitu atasema moja. By 1.5 years there should be some element of language that we can understand. You say pe ji, nipe maji or something like that. They should say. So usually at 1.5 years, if you're worried, there's an assessment that we can do at 1.5 years to kind of see what's going on, because there should be some understanding. By 2 years, that's a child who should have significant speech. Should actually even be able to make a short sentence. I want milk. In whatever way they will say, because remember, they're not going to be very clear. They're still developing their muscles. They'll probably not be very clear, but they should be able to say a full sentence. I want milk. Nimechoka. Nataka kulala. Okay, maybe they might not know they're tired, they want to sleep, but they can say something like that.
What if the child has semi-full sentences, but bado ata communicate vizuri, but like bado mtaelewana?
That's okay.
Okay.
You see, that's a sentence. Like it's like 3 words of a sentence. Not like the way we are saying.
Ameshikanisha tu.
Ameshikanisha this thing.
Kula food.
But
Okay.
so that's a sentence for them. Yeah, but they are not just pointing and saying. They are saying this is what I want. Yeah.
Okay.
So if they are speaking gibberish. By gibberish, I mean like a 2-year-old who is saying, blah, 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 blah. You've had kids who say that, yeah? That makes absolutely no sense, yeah? You start wondering what's going on, yeah? Then you start now examining the surroundings, and then now probably do like an assessment and see if there's any delays, yeah?
Because COVID moms, COVID moms, hi!
I was also a COVID mom.
Hiyo inafaa tu ikuwe topic on its own because I think the children went through the most. Unajua kukuwa na kutoka nje. So less interaction means hata hiyo speech inaweza kuwa delayed.
Yeah.
Tunaongea na nani? Hakuna mtu anakujanga kwenyu. You're there, your mom and dad, maybe the nanny. Yeah.
But the interesting thing about what you've said is that children learn from imitation. Haijalishi ni nani. So you can actually be 3 in the house. Mama, baba, mtoto. And the child will pick language. Just depending on how you speak with the baby. So what we need to do is speak with the baby the way you speak with an adult.
Yes, yes.
Don't say baby language. Because they will learn baby language. Yeah?
Yes.
If instead of me saying kiatu, and I say atu, he'll grow up knowing it to atu. You get, yeah? But if I say kiatu and he's saying atu because he can't say ki, then that's fine. Yeah. So they develop from imitation. So what you do is, because it's more interesting when they hear tone variation. So you talk to them like, hi mama. You don't say hi mama. You know, you like vary your tone, vary your expression. They pick it up from there. So of course, interaction with other children and other adults makes it easier, but it doesn't mean you can't. The interesting thing about COVID is the confinement. That was first a very stressful environment. And then what did we have if not only screens?
Yeah.
So
siende hapo juwe. Sisi hatuwezi kula food bila TV on. TV.
Yeah. So and then again, you know, the screen is not human interaction. So they will not be able to imitate it properly. We're not interacting. I'm watching you do this. So I'm not interacting with you, yeah? And then it's so mentally stimulating. It's like overstimulating, yeah? So it actually will delay some of those developments, yeah? And it will affect so many things, including your sleep patterns. So you find babies who are probably more aggressive, more agitated, more, you know, and they are not learning much.
Why are you shouting at me? We didn't bring you here to shout at us.
Well, sorry. So yeah, that must have been quite a big challenge for COVID moms, yeah? But anyway, it's what we had at the time, yeah? And now we are learning and, you know, figuring these things out.
Unaona Miss Rachel ndio anatry ku bring that connection. Asemanga say mama, then mtoto anasema say mama, hadi anafunza hadi sign language,
And then if you notice, Miss Rachel's videos are kind of dull. They're not bright like Cocomelon. So they're also not mentally stimulating. So it's dull. She speaks slowly. You see her mouth moving.
Her hand motions
but it's still screen time.
I know.
You
are guilty.
Akichelewa kuongea, you assess the environment. Nikakumbuka, my mom was actually telling me story time. My mom was actually telling me, I talked when I was 4 years old, I think. And it was because alikuwa ananiambia, probably alinipeleka usia akaambiwa niko na trauma. So apparently watu tulikuwa tunaishi nao, they'd shout at me a lot. Nikiongea unasikia wewe nyamaza. Nyamaza, you know, toka hapa.
So ukanyamaza.
So nikanyamaza kabisa. So venye alinipeleka usi nikakuwa assessed, ndo sasa akamba start talking to her more. And then also my mom alikuwa in that period of her life alikuwa na stress mingi. So when it is just me and her, she's not talking to me. She's in her mind. So maybe that's a point to note for people out there. Watu naachia watoto, wana handle watoto aje, you know. And even you, in as much as I know as moms, life saa zingine can hit you hard, but ukiwa na huyo mtoi, just be present with that child pia. Talk to them venye tumeambiwa hapa. That was just a side note.
Mothering is kuzaa sio kazi.
I know, but then when but then when I started talking, I never kept quiet. As you can see,
so you were able to talk. You were
I was just afraid. Yes.
So tumefika wapi? Tuko kwa 6 to 9.
9 to 12.
Sasa tuko 9 to 12.
Tumekadi tu ama story ya kuongea. Ama tumeenda sana.
Tulikuwa kwa 6 to 9.
Not reach 9 to 12.
Tuko 9 to 12 sasa.
9 to 12. So we are sitting, we are crawling, we are learning to stand with things. So I can stand, neza kujileta mpaka hapa nikajiinua. And then I just stand. From around 12 months, I can actually move. Some even when they're 9-10 months. So I've crawled to the edge of the table. I've lifted myself up, I'm standing, then I use the edge of the table
to move.
Yes.
So you see the way the for the gross motor, it's progressing. It's like your body is getting stronger as you're going lower. So I'm able to lift my trunk, now I lift my hips, now I lift my whole body. So by the time this baby is 1 year old, you should be standing, at least even with support. And then now, between 1 and 1.5, now we try and walk. So we'll be walking with things, but walking freehand is the one that usually is a bit of a challenge. A lot of the time, if you can see they can stand freehand even for like a minute or 30 seconds, that baby just needs some confidence. But if your baby has not walked by 1.5 years, there's a problem. Some will walk early, some will walk later, but by 1.5 years, you must be walking.
So hii kitu ya calcium distribution in the body. Apparently, meno ikitoka ya kwanza, atachelewa kutembea. Miguu ikitoka ya kwanza, meno itachelewa. Like, ni ukweli. Ama ni sisi tuna...
Ni ukweli do.
Sema tu. Na vile tumeambiana kwa hii channel.
Na venye nimeambia hata.
Na vile tumedanganyana huku nje.
Kuna wenye wanasema hivyo. Kuna wenye wanasema meno ikitoka kwanza utachelewa kutembea. Kuna wenye wanasema sijui ukitembea kwanza meno itachelewa kutoka. Imagine everything is just arranged. My lower teeth will come out usually between 6 and 8 months. But they can come out as early as 4 months old and they can come out as late as 1 year old. So labda ulikuwa tu huyo mwenye meno ilichelewa kutoka.
Juu mama tunapeananga pressure huko nje. How
much of a coincidence is it? Mimi meno ilichelewa hadi 1 year old. But tulitembea before hizo meno zikuje. Always ama akiwa 4 months utachelewa kutembea.
Kama wangu alimea meno lakini kutembea tulikaa.
Kasi tulikuwa na meno, mtoto wako alitembea bila meno akismailia watu. Kimongoyo.
But then again, alichelewa. You remember everything? Arrange.
Basi wa mama tunapeananga pressure. Kwa janza ajatembea kwa nini?
So remember everything is arranged. Every baby develops at a different pace. You can have more than one child na tuna. When alitembea na 9 months. 9 months anatembea. Mbona wanga alitembea na 1 year and 2 months? It's the same family. And everything is developed. The point is everything coming as it should and when it should. So technically, hawakuchelewa. It's just that labda wa rafiki yako alianza.
Kunipea so nikikuja hapa Malaica utanipea range.
Nitakwambia.
Niambie hapa na hapa expect this.
Yes. You see they have said if by 1.5 years you're not walking, there's a problem. So you would have walked maybe at 1 year, another one at 1 year 2 months, another one at 1 year 3 months, another one at 9 months. But there's now that upper limit where nitasema there's a problem, and then I'll also look at some things. Like let's say if you're not walking at 1.5 years, but you're also not able to sit. That's a milestone for 6 to 9 months. So clearly there's a problem, So you're looking at them as they come, So if I'm supposed to do this, have I done the others I'm supposed to do before this one? If there's also a problem with the way those other ones were coming, then there's a problem somewhere. Sasa lazima ni itafute, yeah?
So what other milestone should we look out for between month 9 and month 12?
Month 9 and month 12. So there's the speech, the one for saying mama, dada. They wave bye-bye.
Yeah.
Because they're now able to move. They can clap. They're imitating a lot. Yeah. They're able to, so they have the separation anxiety. They'll cry a lot when you leave. Yeah. So you have to just encourage them through that. Yeah. And then they can figure out a few things. They can figure out that if I lean forward, I can reach that toy. But if I'm lying back, I can't reach it.
They won't struggle like
no, they'll be like, okay, I think I need to move myself in a certain way. Their cognition is really improving. Yeah. So if you want to encourage them, a lot of floor play, free play, leave things all over. Let them try and actually do the work of reaching things.
Perfectionist. Cringing like this right now.
Ni chafue nyumba.
Need tricks.
Nyumba yangu.
I leave what?
Mbona toy iko juu ya meza?
Why? That toy is...
Mbona gari iko juu ya meza? Mbona slippers ziko juu ya meza?
So let them do a lot of discovery. Children discover a lot when they are left to do it. So again, a lot of the times, I guess maybe also in the era we are parenting in this for like, let me help my child, but you find them, you said, mtoto sana, kuna
independence,
they don't develop that independence or they don't move as fast as so leave them in, it can be a safe space, it can be a play mat, it can be a play pen, but watching a bit let them sit up, turn around, roll over, throw themselves the tummy, then they realize they can scoot forward, then they, their muscles are actually exercising and growing and developing. So by 12 months, tunasema vitu moja, I can identify some things. I can say this is a plate, this is a cup, in whichever language, but they know, they know what's theirs, what's for other people.
Ukimwita anakuja, come.
They follow instructions, they're listening and understanding, not just hearing, actually understanding. I think mommy is telling me to do something. Let me do this thing, you get. They can play with blocks. They can now start picking things. The small fingers, they're picking a block, putting on top of each other, they're piling it up, Even when they're walking, a 1-year-old has a very, like the way they walk is very kind of like a duck, like very, So you notice even when they're climbing steps, it's moja, Ivo. Moja, Ivo. But by the time they're getting to 1.5, 2 years, I'm able to go faster. A 2-year-old should actually try and do one at a time. So one step, absolutely one step at a time. So both feet on that step, then both feet on the next step. And then now as they grow older, they can now put one step.
Si tuko hapo tunakimbianga hadi unapata anxiety, utaanguka, enda pole. So tuongeleshe about sleep. How do we know that our babies are sleeping well, like sleeping pattern? Tunajua, we want to know how we can foster healthy sleeping habits. Now, how long is my baby supposed to sleep? Kwa hizo miezi hizo.
So sleep depends again na age ya mtoto. Wakizaliwa, they sleep a lot. They'll sleep between 20 and 22 hours. Newborn to about 6 weeks, 2 months. So you'll notice that when they're awake, it's short. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they're out again. And then that now stretches. So they have now more waking time, during the day. And then you'll find out they start pulling longer sleeping hours, So when they're newborn, between newborn and 2 months, a lot of the time we don't want you to sleep too long. Also because we are not, their bodies are not able to warn you that my sugar levels are low, I need to eat. So they can be woken up by hunger, but if that point pitted, then now they won't be able to wake up. Because their sugar levels really dip, and that's dangerous. Because low sugars, imagine you just sleep to eternity. it's very scary. Yeah? So we insist that the baby must feed every 3 hours.
Oh, that's why.
If they don't wake up uamshe. Huyu alikuwa analala anadhani ni vibes tu.
If they don't wake up, unamwamsha, yeah? Then usually between 6 weeks and 2 months, you'll notice a kind of picked up pattern. They're able to suckle longer. They're able to sustain themselves longer. So they might start pulling longer sleep hours, yeah? So by the time you're getting to 2 months, to maybe about 4 months, you're sleeping between 14 to 18 hours, yeah? By the time you're hitting 1 year, you're sleeping 12 to 14 hours, yeah? A teenager is actually supposed to sleep more than 10 hours, like 10 hours.
A teenager?
Yeah. Sleep about
In an African home.
Then an adult 8 hours. Yeah, so things like that. Yeah, so it reduces as you grow up, yeah? But it's more when you're younger, yeah? So sleep. Am I well fed? If I'm well fed, I will sleep properly, yeah? And then again, am I overstimulated? If I'm overstimulated, I will not sleep properly. Yeah. So there are those things that you will look at, yeah? For the daytime naps, I prefer you don't make everything very silent. Yeah.
Oh.
Just let them
Continue with your life as
continue
usual.
their life.
Okay.
Let
The TV
do whatever you're doing, yeah. But then at night, now tone everything down, yeah. So it also kind of helps them switch, yeah, into less daytime sleep, more nighttime sleep.
So nisiende kukelelesha watoto wa jirani wakipigia mtoto wangu kelele.
Wacha wacheze. The baby will still be able to put themselves to sleep and maintain the sleep even through that, and then they'll wake up, yeah. But then at night, now tone everything down, dim lights, quiet, yeah, so that they now sleep. So that they also differentiate the difference between day and night. Yeah. And then make sure they're well fed. Make sure they're warm enough, not too hot, not too cold. Yeah, make sure they're just warm enough. But again, usiwafunike na vitu nyingi, because that's dangerous. Yeah, if you have too many blankets or things around the cot, it can reduce the amount of the circulating oxygen around them, and they can suffocate. Yeah, so you'd rather put on more layers on the baby than on top of the baby. Yeah, so maybe add a vest or two or a thick ones, and then the one blanket is okay. At least we're still warm, yeah? So not too hot, because if they're too hot, they'll be irritable, they'll wake up. If they're too cold, they won't have good quality sleep. Okay, then whatever they're sleeping around, just make sure there's not too many things around, like cot bumpers. We like cot bumpers.
They're cute.
Cot bumpers.
Alafu asijigonge kichwa huko kwa
a teddy bear there, this and that. All those are reducing whatever is circulating, and then there's the risk of sudden infant death, yeah, or the cot death, what we call cot death. So remove most of that, yeah. You can do a few things, like let's say develop routines. Children really thrive in routines, yeah, and routines are not something very complex. It's just that we eat at this time, we play at this time, we sleep at this time. It's even as adults, we have routines. I'll wake up at 6, then I'll shower. Then I'll have breakfast, then I go to work, then I do this, then by evening, I do this. We all thrive in routines, yeah? So it just makes everything easier. So you can also develop some form of pattern or some form of routine around their sleeping, yeah? So like, let's say for nighttime sleep, you can say, maybe we bath at 6, we do a good massage with some light music in the background or a story, and then now we breastfeed, and then now we go to sleep. So now that will tune something in their mind. They'll realize, I'm being given a massage. And they just start yawning and going, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Sasa Doc, our time is really gone.
Guy, we've been talking
and we haven't even covered
hata hatujashika. Hakuna kitu tumefanya.
But I'll ask this last question, which I think is very important. As your child is developing, how do you support their emotional and social development?
Okay. So, one, just be present, yeah? And presence for a child is, attention, yeah? Right now, we have a lot of social media. We're all hooked on our phones. So, my child telling me a story and you can scroll up on Instagram. Technically, is not a
Now, skizzy, you're just saying.
Yeah.
So want to slap.
Yeah. So this actually starts fostering emotional and social well-being in the baby. Actually starts in the womb. Yeah.
Okay.
Sing to them, talk to them, play with them. When they start kicking you, pat the tummy, whatever it is, you're communicating already. When they're born, when they're very close to you when you're breastfeeding, have you noticed that newborns will stare? It's very close and they're like, what's this? Talk to them. Yeah, hi, my name is Mama, this is my voice, whatever it is, doesn't really matter what you're saying. Sing with them, play with them, massage them, it's a bonding session. As they grow older, play with them, And play is very simple. Most of the time, I think sometimes we tend to overcomplicate things. So maybe it's because of a lot of comparison, It could be something as simple as the baby over there and we are throwing a cup across. A plastic cup.
Even so Murugi yesterday alikuwa anafanyisha watoto wake. Like she was tired. She was seated and telling them, okay, Mama says sit down.
Yes.
Mama says stand up. Mama says imagine. Na munaenda mnalala.
So play with them. Have conversations with your baby. Don't assume that hakuelewi. Anakuelewa. So just remember what I said, tone variation. They're listening to you. They're interacting with your emotion and your tone and your mood and all of that, when they're younger and they can't move a lot, get to their level. So like if the baby is, let's say, 3 months old on the mat, upside down, I can also be upside down on the mat and we talk. Or I put the baby on the tummy and then we're across and I'm just, bubbling, As they grow older, take them outside. Outside is very fascinating for babies. There are so many colors, there's so many textures, Let them even walk on the grass without shoes. Okay, as long as it is safe, because it also helps. What we're talking about, the fine motor in the hands, in the feet as well. It also helps them kind of plant their feet well when they're walking. They can feel, They learn textures. They'll know, hey, nilienda nikatembea nikadungwa na mawe. I'm not walking on rocks barefoot. They're learning textures. They'll say, this is a green leaf, And when they're able to talk later, they'll say green. Then you ask them, give me an example of something is green. A leaf, because they saw it outside, Let them touch things, let them play with other kids, let them interact, Interact with other children around. They learn how to play with each other. Initially, it's difficult because they are very selfish.
Sharing.
Yes, 1 to 2 years. Actually, don't know the concept of sharing because everything is
theirs.
Yes. And then when they get to 3 years, they learn to share. That's called cooperative play. We can play together. Even if this one is mine, I'll give you, you give me. Then you start seeing them playing mommy, family, chamama, kalongo. Exactly. So completely interact with them. Don't be afraid of showing them emotions. If you're angry, obviously don't shout at them because it's not their fault you're angry. And if you're sad, you can also tell them, Mommy is feeling a little bit sad. But sometimes we are sad and we get better after that, especially as you're talking to older kids like 4-year-olds because they can perceive these things. Even if they're not telling you, one day they'll tell you, Mommy, yesterday, why were you sad? You didn't say it. They saw it. So, talk to them and all that. That builds a connection between the mommy and the daddy and the baby. And it also fosters some form of comfort such that they know nikiwa mkubwa nikiwa na shida I can go to them.
I can even regulate my emotions.
Yeah, exactly, because they've seen it happening in real time and they can also come to you and say, okay, this is the situation. A 5-year-old can tell you, Mommy, I'm feeling very annoyed because this person, and you can see they're annoyed. Then you help them through it. So, but you're the one who literally taught them this is what annoyed looks like, or maybe the way you're acting like this, you might be annoyed because of this. You get so a lot of talking, a lot of playing, and interacting with them.
Okay, the last question. Hey, but you will come back, please.
I'll come back.
You need to come back. Hatujamaliza. When should a parent now consider going to a specialist, a child psychologist, a developmental paediatrician?
Okay. The purpose of this session also is to just tell you what's normal, So you will have been seeing. But also I encourage moms a lot too. A lot of the time we go to the doctor or to the clinic when it's just time for vaccines and wait. Then there's that period between After 9 months vaccine, and then 1.5 year vaccine at 20 hosi. Yeah. So just one that habit, because you might not pick it, but me I might pick it because I have been trained to look for these things. Yeah. But most of one you're picking from what the doctor has told you is normal, and you're also watching your baby.
Yeah.
And then that booklet, what see the purple one, it's very important. And if you flip through it, it even shows you milestones at this age, when teeth will come out, this and all of that. So if you also have been looking at that, you notice kuna shida, yeah? And then the moment there's an issue, even if you're afraid, because sometimes you don't want to be told bad news, enda tu hosi. We'd rather catch something early and start sorting it out. Yeah. Then usually the normal assessments for speech, the first one will be done like around 9 months, then another one at 18 months, and maybe another one at 2 years. Yeah. So those are the ones where I'll say if there's a developmental issue, I'll check at that time. But you see, your regular PIDS visits will already have picked something. Yeah.
Okay.
So mama mwende clinic. Mwende clinic.
Na msiogope kuuliza maswali. Sometimes maybe someone might
another nurse almost slapped me cause unaona zile injections 3 zenye mtu yeye anapewanga
14 weeks.
I think so. Yeah. Kuna zile sijui 2 jabs here,
that's 14 weeks, yeah.
So nikamuuliza, okay, mbona unaweka hii side na hizi zingine hii side nyingine? At madam usijali kila kitu iko sawa. Niko like I need to know. Like I want to understand.
She had a problem with you asking questions.
Because me I'm like,
or maybe she felt you think she doesn't know.
Hizo shindano zinafaa zidungwe anyhow ama kuna yenye inafaa iende kwa the left thigh ama
kuna za left side, kuna za right side.
Sasa unaona hizo ndo tulikuwa namuuliza. Karibu ni chap.
She had her own issues. She probably thought you have concluded.
Anyway, sawa mwende Malaica mtashautiwa.
Discuss.
Okay, this was so informative,
but nothing. We had so many questions to cover zote. Maybe we can arrange how you can come back tumalize hizi swali zote for the sake of our audience. Our love, care about you people.
Please, and your babies.
Na muuliza maswali. Thank you so much for coming through. I'm so sure watu wame benefit. I think hizi sessions they're not only for content. Hata sisi tunala. Tunafilika tunapata free session.
Sasa ningeenda nilipe.
But usijali hata ukienda pesa si pesa mingi sana. Like for the support group you just need $4.99 per month. Imagine only the clinics are
$39.99.
Yes. And please mention to them what you're offering in the clinic.
So when you come for the well baby reviews, we check first the growth of the baby. Is your baby growing well? We check the feeding of the baby. Is baby feeding well? We address any concerns that mom has, and then we guide you on what to look out for. So you'll find like most moms, when they come for the 6-week review, I'll tell them, we need to expect this. Yeah. So even by the time the baby is 2 months old, like, this is what docs say. Yeah. Then every time you come for your monthly reviews, we are doing a well baby assessment. We are monitoring our milestones. We are monitoring our growth and evaluating it as well. And then we also give the vaccines that are required. Yeah.
And you can see how calmly she's explaining this. That is how you will be handled.
Imagine hata ana shida.
That is how you will be handled.
Yes, for sure.
Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you for
Asante
having
sana.
me.
In case watauliza maswali huko, please just kuwa rada.
Kwa rada tutakuita.
Because us we can't answer.
Tambia Twitter doc, please. Doc.
Yes. Come here and answer this question.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching. See you next week. Bye-bye.